Welcome to Breadcrumbs to Blueprints and the What's Your Superpower series. We have today our special guest, Shylie Fox. Welcome, Shylie.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure.
All right, so Shylie, tell us what you do. So you're one of many things.
I am.
Yes?
I am a multidimensional being. So I am a soul healer and activator. I work with women's empowerment, embodiment and coaching through goddess circles, and I also am a yogini and a mystic.
And a yogini is a yoga instructor?
Yeah, someone who practices yoga daily. I always say love is my religion and yoga is my church.
Whoa, and you feel very grounded.
Yes,
Very different from my energy, which we were laughing at before. I'm all over the shop.
It's taken a long time to get where I am. For sure.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. All right, very interesting. So, let's get straight into it.
Great.
So, Shylie Fox, what's your superpower?
Oh, superpower. I have the gift of the seer. So the shamanic gifts, so I have the ability to see the world through other people's eyes in order to find understanding, compassion, and to help.
Amazing. And how do you do this?
It's taken a long time to understand it and then to know myself apart from other people. So it's done through, I don't want to say clairvoyancy, but it's a gift similar to that, where I don't intrude in anyone's privacy, but when I connect with someone, whether it's via a phone call or an appointment, or even if it's just catching up, I'll somehow tune into their energy field and see the world through their eyes. So I'll move and breathe and view things as they would.
Right. So clairvoyant, clear seeing. So you literally can see what's going on?
I can't see what's going on in their private life, but I see the world. It's like I step into their body and see the world through their eyes and how they perceive the world.
Interesting.
It is. It's taken a long time to understand how I perceive the world as opposed to other people.
I see. So there's been a bit of a blur there.
Yeah, it's when you start to activate your spiritual gifts and you start to navigate them, it can be a confusing world for some.
Okay.
And that's my journey.
That's your journey. So we'll get more into that, because
Yeah.
now you've made me think of another question, and that is, when did you discover your spiritual gift, or have you always had it?
I think I've always had it. I think when I was younger, I was very open as a channel, and I kind of got it shut down throughout my childhood. And then it reawakened when I had a close friend die. So my heart opened, and then I went down the path of Reiki, and then I went to Peru and did a luminary leaders journey there, and one thing led to another. I was meditating in the backyard, and I started to get this information that came in, so I cross-referenced in Google what it was, and then I'm like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? So that's when I started kind of being like, I feel like there's more to this world and myself than what I'm being told.
Right. And cross-reference, so can I ask what information came through, or is that too personal?
No.
Only share what you want to.
The first one was I was just sitting in the backyard, and I just grounded and had lunch, and I just closed my eyes, and I was giving all these coordinates to star constellations, and I was like, okay.
So like 25 degrees?
Yeah,
really?
Totally. And I was like...
Mathematical downloads?
Yes, mathematical downloads. Wow. And I just was like, I don't know what made me go to Google.
Yeah.
And then I did. And lo and behold, all these constellations started coming up. I got shown the Signet constellation and all different planets as well. So I was like, what is going on? And then the next time I meditated, I got taken to Egypt. And I said to my teacher, who I've done all my spiritual work with, I was like, what is going on? I feel like I'm off with the cosmos. So I managed to tap into the unified field of consciousness. What I realised, and then I was getting all this information quite fast.
Wow.
If I had not Googled or been on this awakening journey that I've been on, I would think that I was making all this up, but I've had to be shown every single thing that a human can do to know that it's tangible.
Okay. And, it's just so interesting because, we were talking earlier before the interview, we do go to Google. Google seems to be the go-to, almost like an automatic knee-jerk reaction. Because it's almost like, we have the left brain, right brain. Yeah. The left brain's very analytical and logical, and it wants to kick in and go, hang on, is this real?
Yeah.
So we get on Google and we Google things. This is great. Okay, so you went on Google, had star systems confirmed to you that these were the actual...
Yeah.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
And what did you do after that? Did you go and tell somebody?
I told my teacher. I was like, what is going on?
How old were you?
This was just after COVID had happened. So just after the lockdowns. And then I had a lot of free time. I was only working part-time. So I just was meditating, and that's where it kind of came in. I was also watching a show coincidentally. I stumbled upon called Initiation by Matthias Stefano. So that activated a lot in myself of remembering too, and that's where it kind of started.
Incredible. So you can watch a show, because I've heard this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just make the viewers enlightened. Mm-hmm. You can watch a show or even look at a symbol or a pattern, and you can get downloads of information from it.
Oh, absolutely. Like it blows my mind, not as much anymore, but there's certain, I do believe in, there are messengers, especially ones that are very predominant public figures, and to awaken, get people to remember, especially with Matthias. He's helped me remember a lot about my Atlantean lineage, and a lot of that time and what we're here to do now. And I'd always been on my soul path, you know, of we're here to create harmony, in my belief. And watching these shows, and, you know, you look at ancient paintings like, you know, of the Buddha, of the robes of enlightenment through different aspects, the Gnostics, and I do believe that these things are remembering avatars that we can come back to remember why we're here, who we are as a soul, and to activate those light bodies, which is the vehicles of ascension.
Okay, so tell us more about light bodies and light language, because you speak in light language. It just comes through, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's been an interesting journey, because again, this time where I was waking up and remembering, I was in the backyard and we were watering my garden, and I was somehow stumbled across a rainbow. And so I traced this rainbow, and it went up and around and through my body. And I was like, what is going on? And so I went and Googled, and I went on this path about light bodies and the ascension keepers, and when you reach enlightenment, the bodhisattvas. And I was like, oh, okay, like that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Coming back into these places of basically not transcending the body, but being on a spiritual awakened path that you can bring heaven here to earth.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think heaven's on earth. It's just how we see things.
Exactly. This is heaven.
This is heaven.
Yeah. Like, we have been given such a gift. Like, heaven's not out there. This is heaven. And we get to play here and co-create in it, which is really beautiful and amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You said something earlier, a few questions back. It was when your gifts were coming through, they got sort of shut down by family, was it? So what is how does one shut down somebody's gift? So maybe, you know, people can be aware of you know, what to do, what not to do, because we want to enhance the gifts. We don't want to really shut them down, right?
Yeah, and absolutely. And I wholeheartedly love and adore my parents. And you know, I think everyone's doing the best with what they can. I think it's a societal conditioning where we're told, you know, imaginary people aren't real, and everything is woo-woo, and there's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as mystical creatures. There's no such thing as aliens. And I think when you're an open channel and you're really connected to the earth and you're really open vibrationally, you're going to see all these things. And kids see everything. They're clear channels. They don't have the mental conditioning. So they are in the unified field of consciousness. But through the conditioning that we're told and the layers that are put on our mind, it shuts it down. And if you have parents, and again, I wholeheartedly love and adore my parents, but if you have parents that are afraid of that, and you know, you look at Adelaide, South Australia, and Queensland, they were the two places that being a witch was outlawed, like the spiritual craft was outlawed. And so it was very much a scary world that you were very quiet about. And so in order to be accepted, it would get shut down, and now we don't talk about that. That's not real. Like, that's just your imagination. And the thing is, what I've learned, coming back to what we were talking about before with imagination and meditation, is that your imagination's real. It's how we create. It's how we create reality. It's how you manifest your dreams. We create it in the imaginary field, and then we do the tangible actions to bring it into this physical reality.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. And when you were saying that, it's reminded me of something that I did write in my book towards the very end of it, and I made up a word. I said, imagination to me sounds like I'm germinating, planting the seed. So I'm going to coin that because I came up with that.
I love that.
Yeah, imagination.
Oxford Dictionary, you listen.
I thought, imagination is I'm germinating. You're planting a seed for growth, and exactly, our mind is our tool to create, and it's our imagination is everything. It needs to be there. How else do we problem solve? Exactly. It's not child's play. It's real.
And coming back to child's, right? Like, I love now how you get all these centres. I think schooling's shifting into the way to really honouring kids' imaginations. There's that imagining place now. There's kids are getting more able to access a lot more play than what they were.
Yes.
Because it was very linear and all structured around the mental realm, and we have both. And how do you know what you want if you're not imagining what you want?
That's how we create. That's our gift. Our mind is a gift.
Yeah.
And our mind is imagination.
It is.
Yeah, fantastic. And kids from the age of 1 to loosely around 7, they haven't developed that frontal lobe, and they can't actually rationalize that. They don't have that logical, analytical part of their brain. So, I think as parents, we have a lot of expectations because of, it's almost like a lack of education. We don't realize, it's just like children too, they don't have that peripheral vision, and they keep knocking their heads and bumping into things we could go, silly child, not watching where you're going.
Yeah.
You watch where you're going, but actually they don't have the peripheral vision. Well, that's what I was told anyway. Maybe somebody wants to Google that and let me know if that's true. But I was told they actually don't have peripheral vision. It hasn't been fully developed. So that's why they bump into things.
Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? It's a developmental thing.
Yeah, and education's come so far, especially with self-development and conscious parenting, and everyone is doing the best that they can.
Absolutely,
the conditioning that was brought down, like parents only knew what they were taught, and that's the parenting that they passed down unless they were wanting to change it. So, now that spirituality is becoming more accepted, more normalized. One of the biggest things, and I did get asked, why are you calling yourself a witch? You shouldn't be doing that. There's such a connotation around it, but that's exactly why. Because for me, and I've changed the term, is woman in touch, conscious healer. So to me, a witch is just a woman who's connected to her feeling body, her empathy, who's connected to the earth, who works with the elements and the energy around her in order to create harmony and peace and love. That's what, to me, being a witch is.
Yeah, and give a demonstration of that, because what's the right word I'm looking for? When you embody that and you are that, then that allows other people to witness that. Yeah. So then they learn from that as well.
Absolutely.
Because unless we have more people modelling that, how do we know?
Yeah.
So it's great just being, because then that just by being yourself, you're being a model for others.
Absolutely.
To raise consciousness and awareness, and giving them some roadway into actually how to be.
And permission as well. The amount of people, I've been very open since I got back from Peru. I did plant medicine in Peru on my Luminary Leaders journey. I'm a very big advocate. It's what lifted the veils off my mind. It's not for everyone. You can get there through meditation as well. But I definitely was in the logic and rational so much. And so being on this journey, since I've been back, I've been very open spiritually. And the amount of people that have come to me and said, thank you so much. I've got no one else to talk to. You're the only one that understands. Because of you, I was open with my family and my friends about who I am. And it just, the more that we can embody our authentic selves and our magic, the more, even though we shouldn't need permission, it makes others feel safe.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, we are just what we are. How do I explain this? Even the term spirituality, it puts a term on it that makes it seem, I think we should even relinquish the term spirituality.
Limited.
Because we are just, it sort of labels it, and it directs a frame of mind. And I think if we remove the word spirituality, because it's not like going to church or, it's not about ghosts and witchcraft. It's actually just being who we truly are.
It's like soul living, like soulful living.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
connected. We're just very connected.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that be interesting if we could just get rid of that term and just help people to see who they truly are and live from that space, from that facet, from that direction?
It's so funny you say that. Like, I love that. Thank you. Because I saw this quote the other day. You know, we're so focused as a society on being more than what we are. We're not enough. So people don't think that they're worthy of love. They're not worthy to have the car, the money, the conditioning, right?
Conditioning.
And I saw this quote because, you know, it's like you got to achieve more and strive more. And it's like, what if the goal was just to be yourself? What if the goal was just to follow what lights you up? What if your goal in life and purpose was to be happy? Like, that's it. That's your goal. Is just to be.
And isn't that true though?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not meant to suffer.
No.
We're not here to like have a horrible time.
No.
We're here to be happy and to grow and create and manifest and actually spread love and joy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so this is a huge topic. We've got a lot to cover, but gee, I'll have to have you back again, I think, maybe for another talk. So it's so much ground to cover.
Yeah.
So all right, well, let's go through the list. I've prepared these questions. Let's try to get them out.
We do get sidetracked.
But it's interesting. I like the free flowing.
Yeah.
All right, so how do you prepare yourself mentally or spiritually before conducting a session, before channeling?
Great question. Yeah. So I tend to ground myself. So I visualize my grounding cords, and then I pour a protection around me, and then just ask to be a vessel for that person's whatever wants to come through for them. So I never take. It's not me doing it. It's spirit working through
you. So you are a conduit. For a channel, a conduit.
Yeah.
And you are just getting in tune with your frequency like a radio station, making sure you're right on the station.
Making sure I'm a
no
clear
static.
Channel.
That's it. And I just want to touch on too, because some viewers may not be familiar with the term grounding.
Yes.
So I thought, could you tell us what grounding is?
Okay, this is really important, especially if you're super high vibrational, super high dimensional. It is so important to make sure that we have our feet on the earth. So grounding is a term that is used to make sure that we are very connected to our physical realm, so that we're not living in the head and really disassociating from reality. So grounding can be anything from putting food into your body to having your feet on the bare earth, to moving your body in a way that feels good, but just making sure that you are actually in your body and connected to reality.
Thank you for explaining that.
You're so welcome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
In my book, Discover Your Hidden Potential, there is a part in there too, which I give people a sort of a link. There's a couple of YouTube movies.
Yeah, okay.
They're for free. One's called the Grounding movie. I think one's called the Earthing movie. So just putting it out there if anybody wants to go down that rabbit hole of grounding with the earth. And very interesting. So sorry, I just had to put that one in for the viewers.
No, please
and I'll
do.
put in the
Nature
links.
is everything. Like it's our biggest ally to be connected on Earth.
Yeah. Oh, and I love how you brought that up, because another thing popped into my head today, just this morning. So this is really funny. I thought, nature is so amazing, is grounding, because whenever we need the best metaphor, we tend to, and I don't know if this is because I'm a hypnotherapist, but we tend to always bring it back to nature to explain something so profound, which grounds us in an understanding.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I love it. And the reason why you thought of that, like in our connection, and we're tuning into each other's energetic fields and passing information, is that we are here coming back to the whole point of this time is harmony. And that's what nature shows us. It shows us how there's so many different things going on, but it all hums together in such a beautiful synchronistic way that if you ever feel like you are lost or turn to nature. It always has the answers. It just always gives us the signs to see how we can work as a collective, as individuals, but in really a peaceful way.
Fantastic. And also, as the seasons change, things change in our life. So if we're going through a hard time, you can reflect on nature again and think, well, this is my winter, and soon it will be summer, autumn, winter, spring. The seasons change. Nothing stays the same, and we are always, energy is always moving, and we are an energetic being. So we never stay put. And so that gives us a little bit of hope if we're ever going through tough times, to think, this is a stage, and let's just be in this stage and enjoy it for what it is. Let's get the best out of it.
Oh, we are so, thank you for saying that, because we are so taught to hold on to things. And you think of the feminine, you know, someone who teaches about feminine embodiment, works with the cycles of the moon. It's like we are so out of touch with living in sync with nature and our natural rhythm that we have a waxing and a waning period. We have a high and a low. It's all about the flow. And so when the seasons change, it's like nothing's meant to stay the same. And we're so taught to stay in the same job for X amount of years, stay in the same home, stay in the same location, stay in the same relationship. Relationships are really important. If anyone wants to know what divine relationship is, look at Cedar and Ram. We're not supposed to catch people. We're not supposed to stay with people if it's not meant to work out, and it can, but it's like swimming side by side. So change is always going to happen, and that's the energy in your own body and the field of working with the two polarities that we have of the masculine and feminine. So the consciousness and the physical, and that we meet them in the middle, in the heart.
Wonderful. I love that. You explain things so perfectly. You really do. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. So let's go on. So have you ever encountered anybody that's skeptical?
Yes.
How do you deal with that? What do you do? How do you handle that?
That's a really great question. It just bring me back to when I was working at one of the Boho Lux markets, and there was a beautiful man that was very skeptic about what I was doing, and I'm like, that's okay. And he had so many guys around him wanting to come in, and I always say, take what I say, and especially in even this interview, because there's 8 billion people out there, there's 8 billion perceptions. We all have different views. You do not have to be open to the spiritual world to be absolutely in your higher self and very conscious and true to who you are. But when you can open someone up in a way that's like, oh, that's okay. Like, you know, my response is, that's okay. Like, is there anything that you're open to? And then if not, that's because you're not for everyone. And these guys that were wanting to come in for him, he had a lot of gifts, and he said all these things to me, and I'm like, you do know that you are very gifted. You're doing exactly what I'm doing. And he said something, and then so some information popped in, and I said that to him, and he's like, oh. And he's like, I said, yeah. So I gave him some information, and he was very, like, I think a little bit stunned, but at the same time, when you can learn how to diffuse a situation by being unconditionally loving and accepting of that person's perspective, and really allowing them to have their own connection with what it is. And if they're skeptic, that's okay. I didn't believe in anything until I was shown it. And that way, when you show someone, they're like, oh, it puts a seed there. And they might still not believe. But, you know, I didn't believe in cards. Tarot cards were the last thing I believed in. I thought they were absolutely BS. And
what changed your mind about that?
I saw 2 readers, and they really were accurate with what they said. And then I was you can't make this up. And now they're one of my favorite tools that I use.
Amazing.
Is that
so they're all different ways. It's basically there's lots of different ways to get answers from the all that is.
Yes, exactly.
The infinite field.
You just got to be open to hearing it, and depending on your conditioning fear, to me, is the biggest reason why a lot of people are skeptic. And it's not their own fear. I think it's fear that's been conditioned. So again, for me, calling myself a modern day witch, it's to bring the light back to the spiritual world. You know, Rebecca Campbell, work your light. Light is the new black. It's taking the darkness away from something that we've been taught to fear. And to me, it's we've been taught to fear it, because it's actually empowering when you're connected to something bigger. When you're connected to your higher self, you're empowered. You're powerful.
And we need the duality in order to experience the dark, so then we can appreciate and know the light. So the duality of everything is actually really important. So everything's for a reason, and it's all in harmony, really,
isn't it? And that's harmony. That's coming back to nature. It's like, you can't have light without dark. You can't have dark without light. And there's a Fear song, a beautiful musician called Fear, and she's like, those who speak about the light but banish the dark are walking around cut in half. Because we have darkness, and if we don't accept our darkness, then we can't be whole.
We need to love everything about ourselves.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful. Do you believe that everyone has latent psychic abilities?
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly believe we are machines.
Yeah.
We all have chakras. We all have a chakra system. And through these chakras, we can activate all the different gifts. I wholeheartedly believe that everyone has the gifts, the clairs. I do feel that some people have more strength in some different gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that people are unique in some gifts,
Yeah.
and we experience them differently. But ultimately, with practice and, you look at silver, and with practice.
And you're talking about the Altramind method, Jose's
yeah. How he taught people, and he wasn't believed that he taught people that telepathy was real, ASP was real. And I do believe that with practice, it's like anything, you can learn anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. So, would you like to channel for the viewers today?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
All right, because you channel. Let's talk a little bit about that before we go into that. So, you channel Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
Tell the viewers who you channel, and whatever you want to say about that.
Yeah. So my channeling experiences have been very varied depending on what's wanting to work through me and what's wanting to be said. I do work with Mary Magdalene and the Divine Feminine very much so. I also work with the Hathors, the Palladians, the Arcturians, Andromedans, just depending on what wants to come through as well, and depending on where I am and what is the message that comes through. So I don't necessarily know who it is. I can't put a name on it, but I trust that the source that comes through is a heart-filled place, because that's the intention that I come from.
Yes.
So
so that's an important thing to talk about too. So when you set the intention, because we have to use discernment. Yeah?
Absolutely, because there are, not everyone is for our highest good. And so when we're working in the spiritual world, it's really important to be clear in yourself, not coming from a place of ego, but coming from a place of love. And also to be really clear on what you're wanting to pull into your energetic field and what you're not, because there can be some energies that aren't necessarily for the highest good of the all.
Okay. How do you know the feeling?
If I feel like something's off, I'll ask. I'll be like, is this actually of the light? And then I'll be shown that it's not, and I'm like, okay, please leave. Yeah, I've had that twice when I've been channeling. So a lot of my channeling is going within, and going and being shown a visual journey that way. That's how I do channel in those realms as well.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's depending on what is wanting to be said in that moment.
Good.
Yeah, and I do channel light language too.
Yes, we haven't talked about that.
No.
And you know so much about moon cycles, and perhaps we'll have you back for another talk and talk about the moons.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about, there's so many things to talk about. All right. So, well, is there a certain process to channel? What would you like to do?
No, I just generally will come into a space, and if you wanted to ask me a question, or I can just channel whatever's wanting to come out through.
All right.
Up to you.
All right. Is there a question that you have on your mind that you would like to ask for the collective?
How can we embody more of our authentic self in this time?
Okay, how can we embody more of our authentic self in this time?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it.
So, the way that we can embody more of our authentic selves is to open our hearts to the true consciousness that is wanting to pour through, to release all of the old conditioning from our minds, and knowing that we are pure beings of light source. And from this place, we can create this reality through our heart portals in order to create full destiny of our evolution of a species. This is coming from the highest place in the universe of the 12th dimensional beings of the galactics. These beings are here to support humanity in a way that is true to really repeating our cycles of opening to the fifth dimensional reality of love, hope and harmony, but coming from a place of not repeating the same devastation that took place to come to that in the earlier frequencies of awakening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah. Something little.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah.
Just such great advice, so deep. So the heart portal, that was interesting.
Yeah.
So that's the beginning. That's how you do it. You got to work through the heart portal. And I never had heard it described as a heart portal before.
Yeah, because we create the universes inside of ourselves. So when you're in the heart, it's coming from the divine frequency of everything, which is love.
Whoa. And do you remember what you just experienced there? No.
Just felt very much opening here. And
Right.
then just allowed. Didn't try and control.
Me. Whoa. Yeah, because it just came out so fluid.
Yeah.
Wow. That was amazing. How exciting. How exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch this back again too
I
and listen to
know.
everything like closely what you're saying. Yeah, I was just blown away.
Thank
So,
you. That's
so
an honour. Thank
yeah.
you for having me.
Thank you for having me. This is my honour, and all of our honours. Like, we all love and appreciate each other. So, thank you for sharing your wonderful gift with us today.
You're welcome.
All right. So, last question is, if any viewer out there was sitting on the fence, maybe they, thought, well, maybe I have an ability, or maybe they've been using their ability but keeping it in the closet.
Yes.
What advice could you give them maybe to, in coming out, just say, or how to enhance their gift? Who would, where's a good place to go? Would it be a mystic school?
Yes.
What's your advice on that?
Oh, such a good question. If anything, please share. Please share. Don't be afraid. There are people out there that need your medicine. And need your words, and what you have to say is valid. There is so many of us, and the more that we can share our light, if you look up teachers, if you connect with other spiritual groups in your area, your community, just reach out to someone, and that's the way that we're going to show this through. Is this is the time now to be open with our gifts, because we need you. We need you. We need the healers. We need those people that can see into other realms. People that can see spirits especially are really important right now. There's a lot of people walking in between the earth planes that really need some assistance. So we just need the forwardness, and to know that it's okay. There's nothing to fear. There's not the reprimand. If you need to clear a wound from being reprimanded in past lives, there's that fear that we're moving through collectively at the moment. That shadow around it, please connect with myself or someone else that does clearings as well, because it's absolutely safe to be in your gifts in this lifetime, and there's so many people that love and accept and are wanting to have more community and connection with it.
Thank you, Shylie Fox, for your time. Thank you for being on the show. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. Yeah, our pleasure. Thank you also to the viewers. Watching Breadcrumbs to Blueprints and What's Your Superpower series. And if you like the content, please subscribe, like it. It all helps. Lots and lots more interviews to come. Some amazing people like Shylie Fox. And Shylie Fox's details will be down in the description box below. Thanks again, and bye for now.